County, Texas?
Yes.
Up to that point in time, what kind of information did you have arriving to the scene?
So typically, the call pretty much is pretty much brief as far as what the information was given by the caller to the dispatcher. And if I remember clearly, a child made an outcry of sexual abuse.
Remember around what time it was that you arrived at the location?
If I serve my memory correctly, it was anywhere between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m.
When you arrived at the scene, who was the first person that you came into contact?
So once I knocked on the door, I believe it was the mother, and at the time, her husband or boyfriend, one of those two.
What did you do when you came into contact with these two people?
So I informed them that I was there for a call for service and asked to speak to them about the incident.
Did you come into contact with anyone else?
I don't believe so, not in person, no.
Did you come into contact with the person that allegedly made this outcry that day?
I don't recall that. I don't believe so, no.
So after you talked to your mother and her husband, what did you do after that?
So proper protocol is we notify our supervisor that a offense may have been committed, and then we get an approval to contact an investigator. We notify the investigator of the incident, and then they will typically let us know if they're going to if they're going to make it out to the residents, or if they're going to speak to the witness at a later date. And then we, due to the fact that it was a child, we contact CPS, inform them of the incident, and I notify the complainant of what's the next proper procedures, and give them a case number, and then I proceed to my next call for service.
Based on your experience in previous responses to calls and your training as well regarding sexual abuse of child cases, combined with what you observed that day, did you make any type of conclusions and determinations?
Typically, so in that specific case, I just got the information that an offense may have been committed, and we really don't make conclusions. All we do is pretty much document what was given to us, forward it over to the proper channels, and they conduct an investigation.
So essentially, you were the first one to arrive on scene that day?
Yes.
And then you just bring in the investigator into the case and hand it off, correct?
Yes, I give them pretty much exactly what I was told about the incident, and I document on my report, and they review my report, and then they proceed with the process.
No further questions at this time, I'll pass the witness round.
Defense.
Okay, Deputy Heyman.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Much better?
Yes.
Okay. So Deputy, let's discuss what you just testified to. You're not here to tell the jury that you believe Clarissa, correct?
Correct.
And you're not here to tell the jury that you believe Roy Herrera, correct?
What was the question?
That you believe Roy Herrera.
Correct.
And you're not here to tell the jury that my client is either guilty or not guilty.
Correct.
Okay. The only thing that you did was collect contact information from Clarissa Herrera. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and you didn't conduct any investigations.
Correct.
So, when you spoke to Clarissa Herrera, did you speak to her with her husband present?
Yes.
Did you think it would be a better idea to separate the two and maybe get her version of events without Roy being present?
At the time, that did not cross my mind. No.
Now, did you speak to Roy Herrera separately at all?
I believe I may have, after I spoke to Ms. Herrera and got the information from her, yes.
Okay. And do you know Roy Herrera?
No, ma'am.
And you spoke to Clarissa, Emily's mom, for about 10 minutes, is that right?
That may be so, I don't, that was 3 years ago, so I don't really remember.
Now, Clarissa told you essentially what Emily had told her. Is that right?
Objection, Your Honor, that calls for hearsay.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Right, Clarissa told you essentially what Emily had told her.
All right, the objection will be sustained.
Don't get into what Clarissa said to you, but that's what she told you, right?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
You asked her if a crime had occurred,
No,
okay? You asked her to tell you why you were there.
yes,
Okay. And Clarissa never told you something happened to her personally, correct?
I don't recall.
Hearsay, Your Honor. Objection.
Sustained.
Now, after 10 minutes of talking to Clarissa, you determined that a crime may have occurred, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And you would agree that whether a crime may have occurred and whether a crime did in fact occur, those are two different things.
that may be so.
And when you gathered this information, you also gathered information about my client Alex, correct?
Basic information, yes,
Address and phone number? Is that a yes?
yes,
Okay. And then you wrote a report about what was said to you at Clarissa's home, correct?
yes.
Okay. You arrived at what time? On September 15th of 2022?
I would say between 5 to 6 p.m.
It's on your report. Do you want to take a look at it? Very good.
So it's not the time I arrived, it was the time that I was dispatched.
Okay. So, how long, when did you write your report?
That afternoon,
And so you submitted your report that afternoon?
yes,
Okay. And then, are you aware that a detective then took your report and investigated the case?
I believe so.
Okay. Are you aware that he concluded his investigation on January 13th of 2023?
No,
Okay. Are you aware that it took almost 4 months of investigating?
no,
When you were speaking to Clarissa, were you actively recording the interaction using the county issued body camera system?
yes,
Okay. And the body camera captured your interaction with Clarissa and with Roy, correct?
yes.
Okay. In preparation for this trial, did you review the body camera footage?
For a brief moment,
You didn't think it was necessary to review the entirety of the body camera footage before testifying?
I recall the incident.
You just testified that 3 years, it's been 3 years and you have trouble remembering every detail from 3 years ago, right?
Correct,
Okay. So in a trial, a very serious trial that my client faces the minimum of 25 to life, you didn't think it was important to review the entirety of your videos?
I recall the incident.
Did you interview Emily?
No. You may proceed.
You said you didn't interview Emily?
No,
Was she even in the home?
as far as what the mother told me, no,
Did you look around the home?
no,
Did you collect any evidence from Clarissa's residence?
no,
And you certainly didn't collect any evidence from my client's residence.
no,
And you didn't try to call my client either.
no,
And nothing prevented you from seeking a warrant that day, correct?
correct,
And you were made aware that my client was living with 4 children during this period of time, right?
correct,
Okay. And so you called CPS, correct?
yes,
And that's part of your protocol.
correct,
Okay. Do you ever follow up with CPS?
no,
And then, did the detective in this case ever speak to you about whether or not you believed what Clarissa was saying and what Roy was saying?
Objection, Your Honor, that calls for hearsay.
Overruled. The answer to that question is either yes or no.
What was the question again?
Did you ever speak to the detective about whether you found Clarissa or Roy credible?
No,
Did you ever speak to the detective about this case at all?
no,
Did you ever speak to any of the family members that lived with Alex?
no,
Did you ever speak to his fiance?
no,
Would you agree that it's a lot more difficult to find evidence of an alleged offense when 9 years have passed?
I don't know the answer to that question.
So during an investigation, detectives typically take photographs of the scene, right?
Depending on the situation,
Detectives collect evidence,
depends,
talk to witnesses,
depends,
talk to officers.
depends.
Do you think an actual investigation into the case is important?
Of course.
Customs.
State.
A brief question, John. We're asked about, did you against a warrant on the case? Did you do that on your own?
No,
Is it part of your duties, responsibilities to follow up with CPS after you make the initial call?
no,
Is it part of your duty to perform full investigations, or you just respond to the call?
just respond to the call.
Brief one, Sean?
Hmm?
No further questions.
All right, is this witness, any further questions?
No, friend.
Is this witness excused?
Excuse from the state, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, thank you. If you'll leave the microphone behind, please. State, you may call your next witness.
Sean, at this time, the state will call investigator Trevino.
As the courtroom proceedings in Burke County, Texas, come to a close, this session highlights the delicate balance between proper procedure and effective justice. Each participant played a distinct role in shaping the narrative and leaving a lasting impression both on the court and the audience. Judge Stephanie Boyd presided with consistency and composure. Her steady demeanor served as a firm foundation throughout the hearing, especially when responding to objections that sought to introduce inadmissible or speculative testimony. Judge Boyd remained impartial, steering the legal dialogue with a quiet authority that never veered into overreach. Her rulings were prompt and consistent, ensuring that each party had the space to be heard while reinforcing the standards of courtroom decorum. The testimony of Deputy Heyman was at the core of this session. As the first responder to the call that initiated the case, his role was administrative in nature, limited to collecting initial statements and forwarding the report for investigation. His testimony reflected a professional, but clearly procedural, mindset. He answered questions calmly, never overstated his involvement, and emphasized that drawing conclusions was beyond his duty. However, his performance was not without shortcomings. The defense effectively highlighted potential gaps, including his failure to separate witnesses during questioning, the lack of evidence collection, and his decision not to review the full body camera footage prior to testifying. These omissions, though perhaps aligned with departmental norms, raised serious questions about the thoroughness and preparedness expected of a witness in a case of this magnitude. The defense attorney representing the interests of the subject, under review, Alex displayed sharp focus and strong command of cross-examination. Their questions were deliberate, often cutting, and aimed squarely at illustrating a perceived lack of investigative diligence. The defense's argument was built not on discrediting personal character, but on process. The limited duration of Deputy Heyman's interview, the absence of follow-up, and the decision not to attempt direct contact with Alex, by pointing out that the deputy did not interview Emily the child at the center of the initial report. The defense skillfully laid the groundwork for reasonable doubt concerning the depth and reliability of the preliminary response. Meanwhile, the prosecution, while less aggressive in tone, made a strategic decision to focus on clarifying jurisdiction and responsibility. Their approach underscored the fact that Deputy Heyman was not tasked with full investigative duties, and that his actions were in line with standard protocol, though less dramatic in delivery. Their questioning helped affirm procedural legitimacy and framed Heyman's role within the broader machinery of law enforcement. Notably, no direct testimony was heard from witnesses such as Clarissa, Roy, or Emily in this segment, though their presence was central to the dialogue. Their perspectives were filtered solely through the deputy's recollection and notes, which introduced a degree of distance and subjectivity. The lack of first-hand accounts in this portion of the hearing leaves viewers with unanswered questions, further amplifying the importance of thorough documentation and the chain of investigative responsibility. The overall tone of the courtroom was controlled but tense. There were no outbursts, no interruptions, and no emotional escalations, yet beneath the surface, the weight of what was at stake was palpable. The defense emphasized that the minimum consequence for their client, if found responsible, would be life-altering. This reminder underscored why careful scrutiny of every procedural action matters, not just for the court, but for public confidence in the system. In closing, this hearing serves as a reminder of the importance of precision, preparation, and perspective in every legal process. Each participant left an imprint. Judge Boyd with her fairness, Deputy Heyman with his restrained professionalism, the defense with their meticulous probing, and the prosecution with their effort to maintain focus on duty boundaries. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, turning on notifications, and leaving your thoughts below. Your engagement helps us continue sharing important legal moments that deepen our understanding of how justice unfolds one case at a time.